And action.
What's up, y'all? It's Ashley. Welcome to the premiere of Beyond the Mic, representing Bastion Media Group. And today I have IKON Zeus. How you doing?
I'm feeling amazing. Thank you for having me, Ashley.
You feeling good? Thank you for coming. So explain to us who you are, where you're from.
Okay, so essentially, from the Bronx. I know a lot of people know me from Lawrence and stuff like that, but I kind of had this segue when I was around like 13-ish, if my memory serves me right. I've been making music for, I'd say, like 6 to 7 years. I've been taking it serious for about 2 to 3, Dominican and Italian, and it's, again, a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And how do you think that like shaped the way that you are today?
Oof. Honestly, I feel like it definitely shaped me in every way, because my life has been a culmination of good and bad experiences, just like everybody else's. But particularly, if we're tailoring it around like my growing up in the Bronx, I had to have like rigid, tough skin. Even your friends and people you consider close to you are those of whom kind of bring you down. They do embrace you in celebratory moments, let's say New Year's, Christmas, all the holidays and such, birthdays. But when it comes down to like every day-to-day life, it's like we rash on each other every day, whether you're short or small, you don't have the nicest clothes, and it kind of made me more stronger, more present, and demanding of respect growing up.
And you're 24, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and so when did you, I heard that you were from the Bronx, so like when did you come to Lawrence, Massachusetts?
I'd say like 12, 13.
Okay, so you've been here for a minute. You've been here for a minute. And do you primarily right now do whatever you do in Lawrence? Do people know you? Is the community with you? You know what I mean?
I definitely feel like, especially after my last sober performance, first and only sober performance at Spigot, it definitely pulled together. I think I definitely do have a good leg up in support, but at the same time, I do have people that support me and some people that don't, you know,
right,
just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. And like segueing into like a bigger topic, so because you have that love from the community and because you have that love from anywhere, actually, from my experience, so do you feel a pressure to be great?
I've always felt that pressure to be great, if I'm being quite honest with you, whether it's like I want to like prove my mom right and prove others wrong. Especially now, I feel like because I have a team, there's like a contingency of like I have to succeed, because before it was like, yeah, you have people that say, yo, like I believe in you, yo, you have potential, like you could do this, you know, you're one of the best freestylers, or whatever they feel. I feel like now it's like it doesn't necessarily matter if I think it has to be that.
So that pressure, do you think it hinders you on your success, or it pushes you to be greater? Like how has it helped you to be the person you are today? Or not helped you, really?
Sorry to interject. I feel like it definitely does serve a great purpose. It does propel me forward. In moments, it has desisted me, if that's what we're asking. Because there has been moments where, like, let's say if I feel like life is defeating me, or I feel like there's just too many overwhelming factors, I find myself, again, defeating myself as life is defeating me, as life is attacking me, as it's doing its thing. But there has been also moments where it's like, because I went through all those failures, because I didn't succeed, now I'm so strong. And when in moments I fall or I'm about to fall, it's like, it's okay.
So has it helped your vision? Has it like put you in a place where you're closer to where you wanted to be because of what had happened?
Most definitely. It's definitely pushed me in that direction and gravitated me towards more like prosperous and opportunities and situations where I'm succeeding more because of it, as opposed to before where it was like something that was just anchoring me.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about that vision a little bit more. Like, what steps did you take to improve your craft, your vision, all that stuff?
Before I had a team, I was writing every day, and even now I'm writing every day. I outsource creativity, so whether it's being in different rooms with different people that pull me to a different perspective, or listening to somebody else's music. For instance, I have this friend, his name is Joey, shout out to Joey. He listens to like very distinct music, very cultured music, not always urban though. And it kind of, for instance, Red Leather, The Only Time It Rains in Hollywood, or
That's a good song.
Tennessee Whiskey.
Ooh, that's a good song.
What is it, Chris Stapleton? If there's music like that, that just, I'm enveloped in a totally different energy. Like, music nowadays is oversaturated, and that's one of the nice things, to get like a totally different creative approach by being in somebody else's aura and soaking it in. Other than that, now, thanks to the shout out to Bastiendrip at Bastiendrip, you know what I mean? I'm now in a spot that every Tuesday I go to this place called Nowhere Studios, and that's just like, if you were a land animal, you're now aquatic, you swim, like it's just different. It's not the same vibe. I'm not gonna give all the deets and stuff like that, because I don't know if that's something that I can disclose, but now I'm like sharpening my sword with other swords, other pieces of precious metal, as opposed to like before, I'm just in my own environment, and that can be, I feel like it plateaus after a certain point, because it's like, it's just you. So nowadays I'm in different environments with other creatives and taking their energy and feeding off of each other and just coexisting in a totally different realm.
So do you feel like Bastion Media Group has put you in that place to kind of open up more opportunities versus as an independent artist?
Like one of my best friends always says, 1,000%.
1,000%.
1,000%. Because not only am I growing as an artist, but just being around everyone, I'm becoming a greater person. Now, I know that there's a lot of underwhelming situations or overwhelming situations where I find myself like, holy shit. But it's like, if I wasn't putting myself under this pressure, I wouldn't become the diamond that I hope to become. But yeah, there's a lot that I could definitely attribute to the team, as opposed to like running by myself. It was like a train that's just on a track scratching. And it's like you're moving, but nothing's greased. There's no oil. There's no engine. There's no people. There's no, nobody's getting accommodated on the cabs. Like, it's different. Like now it's like I'm on the same train, but it's like that train from Harry Potter where it's like magical and it's full of life and just so much more hope in this pursuit of success.
Because realistically, there's like a lot to do for one person. There's a lot behind the scenes that I feel like a lot of people don't really read into. But there's a lot, whether it's like releasing a song or it's you're getting a venue or anything like that, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I feel like, speaking from personal experience and everything, I feel like Bastion Media Group has put you in a much better place as an artist.
Yes.
So how do you envision yourself 5 years from now in Bastion Media Group?
5 years from now, I see myself on the charts somewhere, whether that's the top 5 or top 10. Somewhere on the charts. I see myself in the next 5 years, next 2 to 3 years, even. I see myself much more organic following, foot in the door. If I don't have blue check myself, nothing but blue checks around me, in and outside of my pocket. Like, this is just the brink, like the tip of the iceberg, and the amount of opportunities, the amount of, like, the gravity of what's going on right now, words could never suffice. But yeah, like 5 years is like Mount Rushmore. Like that's fucking insane. I know maybe not everybody else sees it that way, but like in 5 years, I see myself owning a house.
So let's say a year from now.
A year from now?
365 days. Where do you see yourself?
365 days from now. Planning a tour. Planning a tour. Much more resources. A couple more people on my team. I see it moving autonomously.
All right, so how does your mindset differ from when you were coming in versus now where you are as an artist?
I feel like initially you do give in to a lot of the smoke and mirrors. It's like everybody would love to believe you're gonna become an overnight sensation. Then after a couple years pass by, it's like, is this shit for me? Because everybody would like to believe that we're all talented. Unfortunately, we're not. And even if we are all talented, are we marketable, right? So I feel like initially I was just like honeymoon phase, like, oh yeah, I'm rapping, I'm always doing like freestyles and stuff like that. And then life happens, and then you have to come to the realization, all right, am I passionate about this? Can this be my life? So now it's, before I feel like it was like a premature love, like puppy love. Like I've always known that I was good and that I appreciated the craft, never disrespected it. But I didn't understand what it fully meant to be a rapper, what it fully meant to be a writer, what it fully meant to be a community man. All the things that I feel like one day I will become, like a philanthropist and all these things.
So do you think that's more of always wanting more of where you're at, like not appreciating where you're standing right now? Do you think that just stems from that?
It could definitely stem from much more than that, but it does stem from, if we're solely speaking about that, because I used to believe once I get a license and a car, like I was gonna be like chill. I thought that once I made past $20 an hour, I was gonna be chill. Granted, there is inflation and all these things, whatever, but I have many of the things that I sought out and wanted, whether that's musically or not musically. I've always wanted more, regardless of the situation. Like the hunger has never changed.
But that's what you need to have as an artist, because you can only go more and more and more and more and more, so you need to want more and more and more and more.
I feel like being an artist, if you don't fall down the rabbit hole of love for it, then it's not the place for you. If you're not getting lost in it, there's no possible chance that you're gonna thrive at the other side. Because everybody says like the grass is greener, whatever. It could be blue, green, whatever the fuck it actually is on the other side. You have to be able to like, be able to take it all in and be capable enough that if it doesn't happen exactly like you wanted it, variation 74 is something that you can like sit with, because everywhere you end up is not gonna be exactly what you wanted from it. So are you passionate? I always recycle that. Are you passionate?
And with getting lost in it, because I heard you say you get lost in it. With getting lost in it, do you ever get lost in it to a point where you plateau, you have writer's block, you don't know where it's going right now? So how do you deal with that writer's block, that plateau, that kind of area where you don't know what's happening?
The first couple times, it is about mental fortitude. Like, are you strong enough for this? Because you don't know how long writer's block is gonna be. Because that ties back down to how talented you are and whether or not you're exposing yourself creatively enough to actually even pull anything. Because like, you can write every day, 365. I mean, do you want to be Little Uzi? No disrespect, you know what I'm saying? Like, the guy probably makes a lot of money, but like, he's never gonna be considered one of the greatest of all times. Because you can be that person that drops a song a week or this, that, and the third, blah, blah, but like, I'm a qualitative person.
You want something of value. If you're gonna put it out there, you want to value what you put out there. You want respect. You respect what you put out there. Shout
out to my man's Axel. I wanted to actually expound off that a little bit. I used to be one person that, I used to drop a lot of stuff and always feel like, oh, did I come out with something in the last month or whatever when it came to rapping videos? And something that'll always resonate with me. And I feel like it's made me a much more substantial and purposeful rapper or artist, for lack of better words. He told me Frank Ocean went AFK, you know, went gone for however long, something like 6-7 years, let's say like 8 years. He came back and like, he can tangle with Drake if Drake dropped that same day. That's crazy. It doesn't necessarily, like, nowadays you do have to push content every day, and I understand like the algorithm and wanting to meet that. I get that. Putting that aside, when it comes to like just creative prowess and whether or not you're leaving yourself amongst the greats, you don't necessarily always have to feed the consumer because you think he hasn't eaten today. Like at the end of the day, like, are you gonna drop like Beyonce Irreplaceable? Like, are you gonna drop some big shit? Or are you just gonna drop another track that people are gonna listen to a summer and then be like, oh yeah, that was okay, but like...
yeah, you're dropping a lot of big names, Beyonce, Drake. Are those your inspirations? Who is your biggest inspiration?
Biggest
and
inspiration?
Why?
Wow.
Yeah.
maybe because I'm lit.
He said, wow.
I wanted to give a big shout out, Christopher Joyce and the Joyce family. Rest in peace, buddy. Sometimes I forget why I'm an R&B rap artist, why I even sing coming from such a raspy voice. If you knew me younger, I had such a raspy voice, like you wouldn't think that I could ever sing at one point in time, past like singing in the shower. Before Buddy passed away, he would always have, Buddy is one of my best friend's dads that passed away of medical issues. He'd have us sing on weekends and holidays and stuff like that. Like, I don't even understand how many times a day. Let's say like 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, because this was a regular thing. And it didn't matter that I didn't have a nice voice. Like, it didn't matter that I was like the only light skin in the room and stuff like that. Like, because there's so many like stigmas and so many like prejudices. And I mean, if I'm being quite honest, like, there were a lot of people that had nicer voices than me. But he just never made me feel like an outcast. Like, everybody was heard, everybody could perform.
Do you still feel heard?
Especially now. Before I bought my car and stuff like that, I went to New York and I visited Buddy before he passed away.
Do you want to take a second?
No, it's okay. I visited Buddy before he passed away and stuff like that. And it was beautiful because I got to sing with him one last time and he was giving me feedback. Rap a little faster, you know, you want to like have more anticipation. It just sucks that sometimes life like kind of congests you and you forget where you're rooted from. To wrap around back to the question, my biggest idol will definitely be Buddy.
All right, I'm actually super curious because IKON Zeus, right? So doesn't Zeus mean like god of like lightning or like everything? Like, isn't he like all powerful? So was that always your name? Was that always something you had?
So Zeus has always been the name.
Okay.
That has always been the name. I've only changed it from Zeus to IKON Zeus. But I don't necessarily use it because the Greek god of all gods, that's a little pompous, a little narcissistic, a little arrogant. All of which things I'm not trying to portray. But I do like the fact that it's like unapologetically dominant. It's not like, hey, my name is Zeus. Like, it's like Zeus, and you understand that the connotation of what it comes with. But initially I didn't use that name because it was the god of all gods. I used it because of the brevity, and I felt like so even if it was the Norse god of chickens, I still would have choose the name. No, for real, I still would have used the name Zeus because I didn't like Charlie or Charles. And
so you didn't workshop any name, any other name? You weren't like, oh, I'm gonna be just this, that.
Well, I used to DJ. And I was DJ Severe because my last name is Severino. But other than names, my name has never been anything other than Zeus and then IKON Zeus.
What impact are you trying to like leave on the world as IKON Zeus?
Even your average Joe could make it past wherever, because I would consider myself a singer now. I wouldn't consider myself Mariah Carey, but I feel like initially I wasn't a singer. All I did was sing in the shower, just like everybody else.
So initially you were what?
So initially I was a regular person.
Oh, okay.
Playing a part. Like, okay, do I like this? Because it's like, you go into the world kind of liberal arts, like you don't know what you want unless you are talented for it. And I wasn't talented for singing.
So would you say that the difference between a regular person and who you are now or anything like that is talent? The difference between a regular person and say somebody like IKON Zeus is talent?
That's a very good question. Talent, consistency, hard work. There's a lot of other things, but yeah, yeah, because you know, hard work outbeats talent when talent don't work hard. Not to be cliche, but it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And if you're not putting the work behind your engine, then you're just a Lamborghini at 800 horsepower or 1,000 horsepower. Just because you have that, you need like an efficient and, you know what I mean, a smooth driver behind it. Somebody that goes to the track every day. Somebody that understands aerodynamics and all the other confounding variables that.
So is it like a sense of like power?
In regards of
to the difference between being regular and then being someone who's working towards something, someone who's gonna be something. So do you think it's a sense of like power that you have, and then not even like power driven as to like
power of
over other people? Yeah, power.
Power of discipline, because that's something that you'll manifest once you're doing all the daily due diligences. Whether it's like, for instance, for me, like I make my bed in the morning. That way I have that win. So that when I come back home, it's like mentally, there's a healthy environment. Because whatever's gonna happen throughout the day, if I don't make my bed in the morning, just that one thing is gonna anchor me throughout the whole day. Then I'm gonna not wanna do this or not wanna do that, and it's just like a domino effect. So
you're a
consistency.
Yeah, so you're a firm believer of consistency and the mindset of start it, end it with consistency.
Yes, because if you don't, I understand that there are some moments where, you know, in the morning you're, but even in those moments, like I'm like thorough in my sheet and like semi making my bed, so at least in my brain it's like, yo, you did something, you tried, you didn't just walk out of your room and leave everything in disarray. Because then when you come back, it's like, God forbid you feel a little sad that day because you came back to something that wasn't sufficient.
And the last thing you want to come back to is a bed unmade. You're just like, oh, that sucks. You're like, oh, on top of that, you're like, on top of all this, exactly. I didn't even make my bed in the morning.
Exactly.
All right, I get that. And like, trailing back to what we were talking about for power and stuff like that. So if you had to choose between having like that just regular power of consistency, discipline, all that stuff, choose between money and power, what would you choose?
Between money and power. Oof. Money
because
and power,
because power can go into so many different things. Because you expressed power and discipline, so just keep in mind that money is one set thing that has one set value to one, you know.
To keep it a stack with you, if I'm keeping it a bean, I would definitely appreciate power in general because I have a power of cunning, power of charm, a way with my words, power of articulation, and just through that, like even if I was ugly or if I was short or whatever, because I was shorter and I wasn't always developed, you know what I mean, to what someone might consider handsome, I understood that if I knew how to speak to people, that was something that could work in lieu of everything else. That was something that was interconnected. So I honed in on that. Like I used to like read almanacs, dictionaries, thesauruses, just to push myself past other people. Maybe it was a Napoleon complex because I was shorter growing up, and I felt like that actually brought me prominence. I understood that it didn't matter if I played on the basketball team and I knew how to dunk. Like if I spoke when the teacher told me to speak, you know what I mean? And it was something of value. The girls wanted to hear me speak. The guys wanted to hear me speak. So as a child, I honed in on that. Yeah.
So I wanted to touch base real quick. So a lot of what I hear from your music and like a lot of feedback that I get from your music, it's that it is tailored toward the female audience. Would you say that that is what your mindset is when you're writing, or?
Yes and no. So there are certain instances where certain sentence structures, when I say a female tailored line, it's like, okay, I can go with that a little more for 4, 8, 12, whatever it calls out for structurally. I'd be lying if I said there aren't songs that were made for females with the intention of like, a girl's gonna be like, ooh, I'm not gonna lie, like there are some songs where it just like, it brings it out of me where it's like, yeah, I think a girl would love to hear this. And if I'm being quite honest, the biggest supporters, whether it's silently or whatever, it's females. And I've learned that like Drake is not only #1 because he raps dope, but he evokes emotion and invokes emotion in people. I know that's, you know, nice lines, producers, engineering, there's a lot that goes to it, but like best I ever had, that's when it dawned on me. It was like, yo, in that moment, putting aside Degrassi and all these other things, I was like, I think he tailors his music around the female demographic, and he has no fear in being his emotional self, and with being that, you pull a lot of people in, because people are like I hear you, you know what I mean? You're speaking from your heart, and I'd rather speak from my heart than pose to be something that I'm not, you know what I mean? So like, you do hear some songs where like, I might be taken out of my character sometimes because it calls for it, you know what I mean? Because you also gotta stand your ground. But I try to be myself as much as I can, not saying I ever am not, but I try not to be always rah-rah, and if I am, it's like, it was smooth like butter to the ear, so like, it didn't matter, you know what I mean? I've noticed like... So
you're writing from the heart.
You're writing from the heart.
Writing from the heart. If the music didn't come with fame, would you still write?
If the music didn't come with fame, would I still write?
Yeah, would you still be in there?
Well,
if it didn't come with that attention.
I feel like that does answer itself a little bit. I've been writing even when I wasn't famous. Like, I remember for a long time, and I credit my team for this, I'm accountable. There was a long time I couldn't pass 1,598. There was this instance where they like took off all your ghost, no for real, they took off all your ghost followers and stuff like that. And I was already at 2K back then, and then they dropped me down, and I've had a constant uphill battle with 1,600. I couldn't pass it. You know, shout out to the team getting me past that. But
Bastien Media Group.
Yeah, if it didn't come with the fame, it really wouldn't matter, because fame is not really what I'm targeting. I'm targeting like multi-millionaire, billionaire status. I don't care if that comes with fame. I'm fine with being off the grid, doing shows for $1,500, $1,000, $500. I wouldn't care. I mean, I probably in the near future, I'm gonna eat my words, but I am gonna eat my words. But no, yeah, it's definitely not about fame or the infamy, or like, I don't care if anybody thinks like the notorious IKON Zeus. Like, I actually want something totally opposite. Like, I want people to not really care that I'm famous or that I have. But
they respect your craft.
That's all I care about.
They respect what you
or hear it, or just hear it. Like, I don't care if you don't like it, you know what I mean? Just listen to it, because there were many moments and instances, and there are many moments and instances where I listen to artists, and we've listened to artists such as Drake, and we'll be like, oh, like that's a sleeper album, or that's a sleeper song, and it's like, no, we just didn't give it a chance. You know what I mean?
Right, I respect that.
So let's like not bring it down before we even hear it, because like, there's a lot of people that have to confuse you with videos and this, that, and the third, and like.
So you started as a writer, and you will end as a writer all the way through, with or without the money, with or without the attention.
With or without the fame.
With or without the fame.
And even if the money didn't come, which I know it will, I still would write past it too, because it's not about the money, it's not about the fame, it's not about anything like that. It's always been about self-growth. It's always been about giving back to the community. Because what if there comes a time where it's like, all right, I make this much, and it's like, it's just enough to give, or it's just enough to take? I'd give. I'd rather walk with abundance, right? So
with that said, what would you tell younger IKON Zeus? Look into the camera for me and tell IKON Zeus. You're talking to him.
Talking to him right now?
Yeah, to the younger.
Don't stop. It can be greater than you ever thought. Much greater. Don't quit on yourself. Don't believe in people that only want to hold you down because they never can make it past their insecurities, you know what I mean? You'd be a fool to run in the direction of the multitudes. Do your own thing. You don't gotta please everybody else, you know what I mean? Don't oversaturate your craft. You gotta walk alone, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing.
All right, thank you so much, Zeus, for coming. And thank y'all for coming. Tune back in for the next episode of Beyond the Mic with Ashley.